Hi, welcome to Formanite Academy. Today our topic is add or subtract fraction. When we multiply fraction, half, we just multiply the numerator. 1 times 2, 2, and the 2 times 2 is 4. Write straight across, but when we add or subtract fraction, which is pretty easy if you know, let's understand with when the denominator will same. Here are two fractions, B over C, and we want to add or subtract fraction, just numerators add and place over the common denominator. We will do this when the denominators will same. Let's understand with example. X third plus 2 third. Now the denominators are same. We will do add the nominators and placed over the common denominators. This is the example of addition, and if we talk about the subtraction, let's take example minus 23 24th minus 30 24th. Now, in this case, the denominator is also common, then subtract as numerators and place the difference over the common denominator, which is 24. Now, let's solve. Minus minus plus, but the sign will be negative. And when we add 23 into 13, we'll get 36 over 24th. Now, rewrite and place the sign before the fraction. I will repeat from the addition. When we have the common denominator, we add the numerator and place over the common denominator in the case of addition, and also the subtraction. We place the difference over common denominator, and here it is the answer. And next, now let's take an example where add and subtract fractions do together. Here is the 3/8 plus minus 5/8 bracket close minus 1/8. Now, first step, they have common denominator. The answer is yes. Let's all these fraction denominator. Now, the first step is they have common denominator. Yes, all these fractions have common denominator, which is 8. And now add all these fractions and place over the common denominators. 3 plus minus 5 minus 1. Now simplify from left to right. Minus 2 and minus 1/8. Now simplify. Minus 3/8. Now rewrite this fraction again and place the minus sign before the fraction. Now, next step is when the denominators of the fraction will be different, because we have seen that the add and the subtract fractions, their denominator must be same. Then, if the denominator will be different, what will happen? Now, let's take example. 7/12 plus 5/18. Now, in these fractions, both denominators are different and numerators are also different. Then we will take the least common denominator. Least common denominator. Why we will take the least common denominator? Because we want a smallest number that both denominators can divide into evenly. Step 1. Do they have a common denominator? The answer is no. No. Now rewrite each fraction with the least common denominator. Now first find out the 12th, which is the prime fraction is 2, 2 and 3. And in the case of 18 is 2, 3 and 3. We know that how to take the prime factorization. I just give you a small reminder as we take the 12 and now find two factors whose product is given. Used 12 is the 2 and 6. Now use these to create a branches. Next, treat with the same 6, 2 and 3. Now these are the prime numbers. Now write what we have. The least common denominator is 2 multiply 2 multiply 3 and multiply 3. And what will be the answer is 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12 and 12 times 3 is 36. And the answer is 36. Now write the fractions again. 7th, 12th plus 5, 18. Now convert these fractions into equivalent fraction with the least common denominator, the 36. If we multiply the 7th with 3, also 12th with 3 plus 5 with 2 or 18, 2. Now solve. 7 times 3 is 21 and 12 times 3 is 36 plus 5 times 2 is 10 and 18 times 2 is 36. Now we have common denominator, which is the purpose we do all these procedure and we get the common denominator. Next, do not simplify the equivalent fraction. If you do, you will get back to the original fraction and lose the common denominator. Let's solve. Add the numerator and place over the common denominator, which is 36. Now add. The answer is 31, 36. Now the last step is if the simplify is possible. Because 31 is a prime number, it has no factors in common with 36. The answer is simplify, and this is our answer. I recap this point. When the fractions have different denominators, then how to solve these fractions? Then because we add or subtract fractions, there is necessary the denominator must be same. Then we find out the least common denominators of the two fractions is the smallest number that can be used as the common denominator of the fraction. But why we determine the least common denominator? Because we want the smallest number that both denominators can divide into evenly. Then we learn how to take the least common denominators. First, look these fractions. They have the common denominator. The answer is no. Then find out the least common denominator by the prime factorization. Then change the fraction into equivalent fractions, but do not simplify, because if you do, you will get back to the original fraction and lose the common denominator. Now the least common denominator is 3 and 2. Now multiply the 7, 12th with 3 and 5, 18 with 2. So we get the common denominator, which is 36. And next step is add the numerators and placed over the common denominator. Then we add the fractions and the answer is 31 over 36. Now simplify, because if it is possible. Because 31 is a prime number and has no factors in common with 36. So the answer is simplify. Now let's take a word problem. A recipe need 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of extra sugar for the topping. Half cup of sugar is needed for the recipe and 1/4 cup of sugar is needed for extra topping. How much sugar total they need? Total sugar needed. Now write half plus 1/4. Now step 1. Do they have the common denominator? The answer is no. Now find out the least common denominator with another method. Write the multiples of 2, which is 2, 4, 6, 8. And now write the multiple of 4, which is 4, 8, 12. The first number they have in common is 4, which is our least common denominator, which is 4. Now the next step is convert these fraction into equivalent fraction by multiplying with 1 multiply 2 and 2 multiply 2 plus 1/4. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4th plus 1/4. Now they have the common denominator. Let's add this fraction and put our common denominator. So 3/4. The answer is 3/4. And the total sugar it is needed for the extra topping is 3/4. 3/4 cup. Let's recap. To add fractions or subtract, make sure the bottom match first, then add the top. Great job. See you next time.